Hello everyone, Jared 10 Does It Gold. Kind of playing around this afternoon, a little bored, so I decided to do a little experiment with grinding my own ground beef. Went by Costco earlier this afternoon and found this really nice package of Prime, the best tri-tip, and as you can see, it's got quite a nice marbling already in it, but we're going to kick up the fat level a little more. I picked up also a packet of pork belly. I'm going to, I don't know, put about 1/4 pound in with the beef and grind it all together and make what I'm going to hope to be some ultimate hamburgers. We're going to see how that all turns out. All right, in the interim, I have I cubed up some of the tri-tip. It looks like I might need to leave it in there a little bit longer, but pork belly is looking all right. What it is you want to put, you cube up the meat before you put it in the grinder and put it in the freezer for about an hour or two. I've had it in there for about, I don't know, hour and a half, and it still looks like it could use some more time in there. So I think what I'm going to do is put it back in there and see how it goes. I really cut back on the amount of pork belly I was going to put in there because the prime grade tri-tip had so much marbling in it that, I mean, I don't know if you can see that, but it shocked me that there was a lot more in there than I had anticipated, and I didn't want to just overwhelm this thing with a ton of fat. So I backed off on the, oh, by the way, I sterilized my hands, so don't worry about any of those food police getting on my case. I'm used to the safety Nazis on my gun videos, so it's time to breed a whole new troll party, if I will, or if you will. But anyway, I have sanitized my hands, and that's the only reason I'm handling this meat. I'm doing these burgers for my little daughter, who's fighting a serious health issue, and I would do anything I need to do to prevent making anything more difficult for her. So I'm going to put this back in for about another 15 minutes, and then we'll get going on it. Okay, so it's time to start doing the beef part. And like I said, you want to have your meat or your steak or whatever you're grinding up pretty chilled, so you don't wind up mashing it instead of grinding it. People wonder why I go, some people I should say might wonder why I go through all this trouble. Well, let me tell you that I have yet to go into a grocery store and buy a package of ground beef and cook it, or make burgers out of it, or even meatloaf, and have any discernible beef flavor to it. I went in today and my local grocery store had a pound of ground beef almost coming in at $5 a pound, and yet you have no idea what kind of beef they're using. And that's why you see, when you get your patties all put together, when you cook them, they either shrink or they dry up. And the only thing you really taste in the end is the seasonings that you put in them. Well, this, I don't know if any of you have had tri-tip, but there is a very discernible beef flavor to this cut of beef, this cut of meat. You can taste it. I mean, I love the flavor of a good cut of beef, and you want to experience that in your final product. Now, tri-tip is the cut I chose tonight, but you can use, I've seen people use brisket, beef brisket, sirloin, any decent cut of New York. I was actually, when I went into Costco, the cut I was looking for was their prime ribeye cap steak. If you ever see that, if you go to Costco and you actually see that cut, or a pack of that, and you happen to have, well, let's just put it this way: if you want the best steak you're ever going to have in your life, you buy a packet of that. And I wanted to surprise my daughter the truly ultimate hamburger and grind up some ribeye cap steaks, prime grade, and lay the smack down on her as far as impressing her and surprising her. But they didn't have it in stock. So I saw they had these prime grade tri-tips, and I said, what the heck, we're going to give it a try. So this pack was 4 pounds, all right, and it was $36. Now, granted, that would seem more expensive than, say, buying 4 pounds of ground beef at your market by what, $16? An average of about $16. But if you were to go with a choice grade, then the difference in price would definitely, it would close the gap considerably. But in the end, even if it wasn't a matter of price, you know the meat you're putting in, you know what cut it is, And there is no way, I guarantee you, there's no way that you're gonna be able to compare the flavor of a tri-tip, freshly ground tri-tip, and compare it to one of those tubes of ground beef at the market. Just not gonna happen. Anyway, I'm gonna finish this up, and I'll show you what the end's gonna be. Okay, so we've got the ground beef, and at the bottom we've got the pork, and this is where the next magic starts. You've already got your foundation of your beef with a ton of flavor, because you know the cut of beef that you use to grind up. It's not some mystery blend that you squeezed out of one of those grocery store ground beef tubes, which looks more like beef paste than ground beef, but that's neither here nor there. This is where you add some personalized flavors to your foundation. I'm going to be adding some Worcestershire sauce. One of my favorites is sweet and smoky. This is an excellent seasoning to add a little sweetness, some smokiness to it. Some garlic powder, just regular old garlic powder. Montreal steak seasoning, and some umami powder. This is magic dust here, right there. So anyway, I'm going to add this stuff, blend it up, and the final magical step, if you will, is once you've got it all mixed together, you're going to run it through the grinder again, and the grinder is going to actually meld the two meats together, the pork and the seasonings and the beef, and you're going to have a much more uniform blend when you run it through again. So I'm going to get all that done, and then I'll show you the final mix. All right, so I just finished the second grinding, and I know it probably seemed and looked like a lot of work for some ground beef, but I guess you get what you put into it. So if you want to, deal with mystery meat and tubes at your grocery store, then I'm not gonna try and dissuade you from it. I'm just showing you an option that you might eventually like to check into. As you can see, this now is a fully blended meat grind, and the seasonings are worked in through the meat. It's it probably looks not a whole lot different than what you see when you buy a pack of ground beef at the grocery store, but I can guarantee you that this is light years ahead of anything that you're going to buy pre-made. Like I said, you know the quality of the meat that you started with. You add your personalized taste with the seasonings that you prefer, and you can't help but have a winner. Now, what I'm going to do is, I've got, like I said, all the meats are blended. I've got all the seasonings that are in there, and it's just like a big flavor party going on in that bowl there. And just like any other party that you go to, takes time to get to know other people at the party. So what I always do, especially when I season something, is I'm going to cover it up, put it in the fridge, and let it sort of get to know each other overnight. And then I'm going to make up some beef patties, hamburgers for my little girl. Now, I wish you guys could smell it. I mean, it's ground beef, technically, but the aroma coming off of this right now with the seasonings and the beef aroma, and it's just, you know, I'm almost getting ready. You could almost eat this. I'm about ready to go full steak tartare on this thing, but we're gonna give it the time to blend and get all nice and tasty, and then we'll see how it turns out on the burgers. Anyway, thanks for watching. Desert Gold, JR10. Have fun, be safe.